Hey y'all.
Welcome. We back.
We are back and we got guests.
Yes.
We
So if you see the lights turn out, we didn't pay the light bill to pay our guests, all right? Just play. Just
we
play.
we are joined by Rick and Tiffany Teen Childs and then Alicia and Mike Johnson to talk about self-care as a couple. And we need y'all participation today because we talking self-care as a couple, and normally we each have our own individual self-care ideas, doing our own things, but have not necessarily put something in place as a couple. And so we are going to have that conversation tonight. So drop your ideas, drop your questions in. But Tiffany, we want to say thank you for joining us tonight, and y'all do your introductions, and then we'll go to Mike and Alicia.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm Rick.
And I'm Tiff.
And we're Team Child. Take it away. Tiff.
Huh?
Go.
What?
Go.
All right, Mike and Alicia.
She said, I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready yet.
What's going on over there, Team?
Somebody
You already won?
We got the giggles. Now we're going to pass it. We're going to pass it on to
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah,
Let's
this team over here on the bench.
All right, so I'm Mike, and
I'm Alicia.
and we're team. No. Nah, so my name is Mike Johnson, and my wife Alicia Johnson, and we're just explaining who we are, what we do, that type of thing. Okay,
Yeah.
So why don't you go first?
Explain
yours first.
No, you started.
Okay, so
We didn't practice.
Why y'all get to see what we on every Tuesday?
This
Real
is why-
practice.
This is why it's unscripted. There is no script.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
So my name is Mike Johnson, and what do I do? Still trying to figure that out. Currently, I'm preparing for a 6-day, 300-mile ride across Northern California because I was diagnosed with multiple myeloma it's been about 2 years, almost 2 years ago. And, for the most part, that has been my life for the last year and a half, 2 years. So, for me, when we talk about self-care, and I'm sure, it's the same with Alicia because she's been along this journey as well. Our big thing is forgiveness and working through that. So how that looks is, forgiveness looks different, for many. In our case, it's been forgiving each other for things that have happened throughout our marriage. We've been married.
Wait. Is this the question? Is this who? Are we answering? Are we staying on? Are we staying on topic?
Maybe I'm going.
Because he get ready. I can say this story. Get ready.
No, I'm about to wrap it up.
Oh, okay. Because I'm like Trina just asked who we got.
All right.
And
Okay.
2 years ago, I'm getting ready to.
So
I don't know if this was a good idea. I think we could. I'm just kidding.
We're gonna let Mike do his thing.
No,
I can see right now.
I can tell the way the tone of his voice changed. It was getting ready to go to another key.
That's why we're gonna let him do his thing. We good.
All right.
All right. No, that's
I was loving it.
Yeah.
That's all we got.
I mean, we got guests on here, so we
Right.
can go.
All right. No, that's it.
It's an hour show.
That's all we
It's an
got.
hour.
That's all we got.
Oh my God.
All right. So I'm gonna jump in here now. So I think I'm ready.
No.
So we're talking about self-care for couples. So one of the things that everybody is seeing right now that's happening in real time is social activity, healthy relationships. That's self-care right there. Just seeing how the couples interact with each other individually and come together. I mean, just like for Tiff and I, when we show up as a team. but it's a social team. And what that does for us, it allows us to be able to show our individual selves that will come together. So that's another part of self-care for couples. Then you look at the mental aspect of it, or the physical aspect of it, or the spiritual aspect of it. So it's so many different things. But what y'all just saw through all six of us was we came together and we're just having fun. So we're self-caring right now as couples. So I don't know, Tiff, did you have something you wanted to add to
I
it?
totally agree with that.
You totally agree.
Mhm.
Okay. All right. So,
Tiffany don't have no words.
word.
She trying to be shy right now.
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
trying to be the introvert right now.
Right. She didn't
Cut
switch
it out.
I done
places.
passed it off to
She
Rick.
didn't pass it all.
Hey, it's a little different being live, but it's
Man, who
fun.
you
It's
think?
fun at the same time. It's
Oh
so much
yeah,
fun at the same time.
most definitely. And that's why it's unscripted. So, you know, so I know we came on, we were going to talk about the self-carecation, which this is going to be our second one, September 19th through the 22nd. So it's another opportunity for us to be able to come together with other couples and just talk about self-care for couples. So we're starting out first day with a all-day
Wait a
spa.
minute. I'm sorry,
Mhm.
brothers. Before you go into that, can we talk about the why behind it?
The why?
The why. Like, why did you do the first one? Why are you continuing with the second one? Why was it important for the two of you to create something that would allow other couples to come together and create the self care that we all need?
Mhm.
So I guess I'll start off with that.
Uh oh, here she go.
Game time.
So I'm gonna just say God told us to do it. Um Rick and I, we are avid marriage retreat part participants, and one of the things that um we would hear from a lot of couples were, what is our story like? How do we gel together so well? And we always kind of give them our background, because that wasn't always our case. Um, we had a long stint of not even really liking each other in our marriage. And one of the things Alicia and Mike just kind of talked about was forgiveness. And, that was really, really key as far as our healing process. And we are advocates for all things health and wellness, self care, and just bettering ourselves. And, and there are levels to that, a spiritual level um, of self caring, emotional and mental self-care, and also physical. Um so that is just one of the extensions of our educational piece to other people and couples in their marriages. So that's our why, because a lot of couples are struggling in that area as far as connecting on a deeper level towards oneness. So that's my take. I don't know if you wanted to add anything else.
No, I mean, just what Tiff said. So as everybody sees, we're Team Childs, but Team Childs was birthed out of the fact that what I realized, our marriage, like Tiff said, we weren't getting along at a certain point in time, and we were treating our marriage, like that's what it was. And one of the things that I saw, that there's an I in marriage, but there's no I in team. So once we started approaching this as a team within a marriage, then things started to open up for us. And we started to realize that when one needs to lead or one needs to pick up the ball, we do it as a team and not just as a marriage, saying that, hey, you over here, because you're at a certain place or whatever, this is the concept of a marriage, but we still can be a team within it. And for us, team means teach, empower, assist, and motivate. And that's what we do for each other when it's time to pick the ball up and, and pass it to the one that can lead. So Tiff said, we're in the health and wellness field. And because we are, there's areas that she's stronger in or she can lead in, and I know how to step back. And that's what happens. I pass the ball to her and she takes it over. So that's where the self-care-cation came about, because we do so many different things within that realm of what we call health renewal. So in doing that, we understood that for us to take the things that we have experienced that has helped us, we will be able to do that with other couples. Come to, show them in that concept of self-carecation, and not just as an individual. Because like you said, as soon as, and it's even more important for any men that's on here, it's even more important to understand it. Because if you say self-care to a man, in a way, you probably are thinking about, spa treatments, massages, getaways, which more women are apt to do, together. But when you really stop and think about it, husband and wife or couples doing it together, are you really getting the concept of it? It's more than just a massage. It's more than just a pedicure. It's more than just these physical services. Again, like I said, it's the having a healthy relationship.
Although the physical is important as well, because everything joined in together works as a whole.
Yes.
So it's just gelling all of those things together. And one of the things at the last retreat, the men were like, I was feeling some type of way of even attending with my wife, but I'm so glad that I did. And to be quite frankly, honest with you, it was the men pushing for another self-care-cation. So that was so amazing and beautiful to me.
So I want to, you wanted
No, go ahead,
Okay,
man.
I wanted to dig into that a little bit more because it was something Rick said too. Women, we'll easily get together. Hey, girl, you want to go to a massage or you want to go to a spa day, right? But men, I don't hear that same thing from the men's perspective. Is there something that you all feel like? Is it a thing for y'all to think about? Like, have y'all thought about the importance of you going to get massages and your self care piece of it?
For me, I don't think about it like, oh, I'm about to go. I feel like doing some self care, so I'm gonna just go get a massage. I'm gonna go get my feet done. If you ask me to go, I'm going. I've never myself just said I'm about to go get my feet done. Even being in the house by myself and I got some free time, like man, I'm gonna go get a massage. I'm gonna go get my feet done. That's not my first initial thing, but I do love going to get my feet done. I'm just not gonna say, hey, I'm gonna go get my feet done. Come on, hey, bro, you trying to go get your feet done with me? Like,
That's what I'm trying to get at. Is there a reason behind it? Like, is how like when you're thinking about changing the narrative on beautiful, like society says it's one thing, but so like, is there a stigma that's associated with men taking care of themselves?
So I wouldn't necessarily say a stigma, but to my gentlemen that's on here, did y'all hear y'all father talk about going to go get massages or go get their feet done, them type of
Or
things,
journaling,
or
like
any of those things? Like it's something that we kind of have to try to change that narrative ourselves within us, and then pass that to our kids, because yes, it's very important. Man, I've seen the back of some dad's heels. I'm getting there. you know, so I'm getting close to that piece that is like, yo, I need to do this self-care here. Man, it's unscripted, so I'm not gonna sit here and hold nothing back. But I still have my feet and heels out like it ain't nothing. It's nothing. Spark a match back there. Let's go. Let's start the grill. You know what I'm saying?
I cannot.
But no, it's important though. That's very important. It's very important. I'm sorry, y'all. But I just have to, I'm gonna be upfront and honest with everything with this, because I had a gentleman ask me today. I said, man, I gotta hurry up and get out of here. I got class with my wife. He said, man, what made you say yes to that? I said, oh, we wouldn't be where we at today if I didn't say yes. I don't even think we'll be here like I wouldn't be with my wife if I didn't say yes to going to the marriage counseling. If I didn't say yes to the yes conference, if I didn't say yes to these things, we not here, babe. So I started thinking like, well, be intentional in listening. Now I got to be intentional with my self care as well
Mhm.
because it's important. Like for real, I didn't think about it. Like even like you say, as men, we don't think about that. I don't think about it. Never thought to be like, let's go do self care with my wife. You know, I mean, we've had massages together and went and got our feet done, but I don't think it was like, oh, this is our self care. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's important. I like this.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So this is what we're gonna do, Dre. So this is how we're gonna make it normal. So on the way to the basketball game, man, we're gonna stop by the massage parlor, and then we're gonna stop by and get some pedicures
Let's
and all
go.
that. We're gonna go. And I
Let's
Come
mean,
go.
on
Listen,
now.
I ain't mad at. I ain't
you
gonna
wanna
say
roll with
no.
us, Mike? Mike, you gonna
Oh
roll
yeah,
with us?
yeah, yeah. I'm not. I don't
Man,
know about
I
the
can't say
pedicure, but
no. I definitely
mhm.
can't say no because I know they're gonna be nothing but good times and fun times.
That's it.
So we
That's
gonna
it.
rock with it.
But you said something too, Dre, that I like when you mentioned the Yes Conference, because that's another form of self care for us when you really stop and think about it. Because I remember when we were at that restaurant, that barbecue restaurant, and we got a chance to talk. And remember when one individual wasn't in the conversation, but I told you she was in the conversation, and she did exactly what I said. So it's just having those healthy relationships and being
Yes.
able to talk with each other and have fun, you know, and just understand that on those days when it's not a good day, that you can lean on those things, you know. Just like I don't know if you ever heard of grounding. Y'all ever heard of
Yeah.
grounding?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that's something else you can do. You know, Tiff and I will do that. We'll go out in our grass and walk barefoot.
What is
You know,
grounding?
but it's grounding. So that's basically connecting to the earth. It helps to remove some of that energy that's within your system. And you can walk on grass or any type of because you're looking for a ground point, a neutral point. And we don't realize that on top of just thinking about self-care from the other aspects of it, but just thinking about it going out and getting into nature, you know, just taking a walk, you know, walking outside. Once you get outside the four walls, you don't understand how much that revitalizes you. And just to be able to do that and share that, you know, with each other is so important. So it's so many different aspects to it. But for us, how we're doing this one starting out was more or less birthed from the fact that we've been to a number of retreats over our, you know, span of our marriage. And it just allowed us to be here at this point in time to say, hey, you know, we want to do something too because we see the value in what we've received and we want to be able to give that back to others.
Okay. Um,
Man, who in the hood?
No, I don't,
I heard it too. I
I
was like,
don't
wait a
know.
minute.
so
We up here in the hood.
I have a question for Mike and Alicia because I know Tiffany and Rick talked about forgiveness, and so I know how important forgiveness is in a relationship. Because, like yesterday I didn't like you, so I'm just not yesterday. We was good yesterday, but just talk about how important forgiveness is when it comes to relationships, so that we can even consider things such as self care as a couple.
You want that?
Go ahead. I'll follow your lead.
Oh my lord.
I don't know if I've ever seen her this
Yeah.
quiet either.
Thank you for that. So, from our standpoint,
You see how he has his own. He's my handler. He's like,
That's what she called us Taylor though.
Blink twice, Alicia, if you're all
I
right.
know.
so y'all know, our marriage has been rocky. It was just a couple weeks ago. We've been married 28 years, and probably half of that. Thank y'all.
I clap that joint up.
Well, probably half of that, we didn't really mess with each other too much. Of course. I mean,
I ain't messing with her like that.
we
I'll
were,
be breaking up with you today. Maybe not tomorrow, but today I am.
we were beefing for a good part of our marriage. Of course, in the beginning, the honeymoon phase, everything was all good. But after that honeymoon phase was over, stuff got real. You have kids, you have house stuff, and all the stuff that you have to deal with on a daily basis, kicked in. And, over time, it's like you build up this wall, and that wall just gets taller. And is it still there?
Mm-mm.
And for us, there were many periods where we weren't talking, and where we would talk, it would just be about what we needed to talk about, like bills and who's going to pick up the kids and stuff like that. Um, you know, how forgiveness affects your marriage and your ability to move forward and to grow as a couple. If you don't have that forgiveness, and a great example is this diagnosis I had a couple years ago. If we were in the same state that we were, back, at year 14 of our marriage.
It would be a picture of him sitting. It would be a picture of him where you had your 10 minutes. Like, for example, when he brought up the doc, that's one of the things we're laughing at in the hospital, because God's timing is everything, and God required that we do forgiveness work at the right time. You want to forgive before you're forced to forgive. You want to forgive when heaven instructs you to forgive, because heaven knows how much time you need. And when we were in the hospital, when he was in the hospital, I ain't claiming I wasn't in it. When he was in the hospital and I was there with him, we were laughing because he never would have healed as quickly, and the treatments would not have been as successful because his mind would not have been right.
Yeah.
We in the hospital, like, he needed that time to know that I was going to be acting right, that the house was going to be taken care of, that everything was going to keep going, and that he could have peace. And that was what the forgiveness, we didn't realize, we thought we were forgiven for one reason, but never, ever, ever think that you figured God out.
Wow.
And so God granted us the opportunity to forgive before we needed to forgive, so that his healing could be quick, swift, and complete, and all of those things. So we attribute a lot of that forgiveness work to where he is now, and we don't take it lightly. And I think everyone, when you're given the opportunity to forgive, do it, because you have no idea what's attached to that.
Yeah. It's hard to to add on to that, it's hard to find yourself in a state of self-care, as a couple, if you ain't, if you still holding on to some stuff.
Yeah.
You can say you are, you may, so for us, we were still going on vacations and all these other things, but
we wasted a lot of money on vacations. We wasted a lot of money on, like, everything that we did. We never truly relaxed. We never truly enjoyed. We enjoyed it for maybe a moment or something, but now when we really, like, that's why I think one of the reasons why we're looking forward to, like, his ride in San Francisco, because we are really in a mode where we want to just enjoy the process.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever we leave here, to be here when we come back. And so it's not like we're stressed about anything or anything like that. And that's what forgiveness does. And I think that that's a huge form of self-care. Forgiveness is a form of self-care.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
One of the highest.
Oh, yeah.
Like, for real. And I love that, that you all are being very intentional, very in the moment of, life. Like, you all are going away for the bike ride, and you're going to take in all of the things. That is so good. So.
Hey, can I ask y'all something?
Mm-mm.
Have y'all ever heard Tiff talk this low?
Leave my friend alone. Leave my friend alone.
I'm just trying to figure who is this?
Listen.
Who is this woman here?
What's up?
You go, no, you just
I thought
she
it was
gonna
Alicia
come out.
talking at first, but no, that's like Tip don't talk low. I'm telling you right
You
now. I'm
gonna
like,
stop
Tip,
picking with her.
this is
Okay,
what I
so
tell Tip.
He's trying to get
Doing
that
this.
out of her. That's what he's trying to do. He's trying to get it out of her.
in her own time, the little butterfly
Oh,
will
okay.
come out and do it.
Okay.
And then, when that talking get to start, y'all better watch out. Okay, so when we talk about, like I heard everyone talk about the self-care, like a lot of times, oh, I can't do it because of the kids, right? Or we don't have the time. And that just for me means that's even more reason why we need to. Like we need to stop using the kids as an
Yeah.
excuse
And
to get
jobs,
together
time.
as a couple,
Yeah.
because I think sometimes we'll use the kids because we don't want to be in the room with each other to talk about the things that need to be talked about and need to be dealt with. And so that's why it's important for things like the self-care cation that's coming up, that is going to allow us the opportunity to say, listen, let's really talk, as a couple, and not worry about are the kids listening. And if it gets a little heated, that's okay. We just, yell our little jigglypuff saying out and do what we need to do. But I want couples that are listening to think about, like, be selfish with your time as a couple. Like, plan the dates, right? You don't have to have a thing where you going, like, plan something small. Just go to lunch. Go, do something so that you invest in yourself as a married couple. Because when we were dating, right, y'all were pulling out all the stops and, taking us here and taking us there. That shouldn't stop when we said I do, or as we're 15, 28 years in. Like, that shouldn't stop.
Right.
Mhm.
Because
So,
life is
so
still
when
going
is
to
that
happen.
night?
Life
Yeah.
is still going to happen.
Mhm.
And it's just carving out those moments are so
Mhm.
important.
Yep.
And I also feel that, like, we don't necessarily wait until a certain date or a vacation or whatever, not to be a Debbie Downer or anything, but you may have a vacation plan for next year. You may not be here next year. So
It's so
don't
true.
put off what you can do today. And that's one of the things, like Mike and I, it's kind of unsaid, but we do it every day. We laugh about something every day. Like, that's a form of our self-care, not just like ha 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 laugh, like, I can't breathe. He's looking at me like, why you so silly? That kind of stuff. Like, I'm hitting him and he's like, Lee, stop. Why but that's part of our self-care. And that breaks because sometimes, life gets heavy and things like that. And we just kind of have to bring each other, back to reality. So I think, like, planned events are great, date nights are great, but every day, the present moment, like this moment that we're in right here, this is the only guaranteed moment that we have. Really.
Mhm.
I may say, oh, we'll do something this weekend, oh, we'll do something, next week or whatever, but that may not be our reality.
Yeah.
And so I think it's very important that you carve out little pockets of time, every day as a couple to do certain self-care things.
Absolutely.
And
So
that's
so
good.
Jay Johnson says that laughter is medicine. Laughter is medicine. Laughter is self-care. Like, if you can't laugh with each other, then how y'all together? you know?
We overdose daily on laughter.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, y'all see us. I try to make her pee on herself all the time with my laughter.
Really?
Yeah. Cause it's like, for real, like,
It's unscripted.
unscripted. That's my goal, is that I wanna try to make her laugh
I
that hard.
cannot. I
Like, man, you
cannot.
making my head
I got
hurt
a,
right
I got
now.
a goal now, Dre. I got to
Yeah.
do the same thing,
Just
Tim.
a little bit. It ain't gotta be one of them little long joints, just a little tinkle. Like, boy, stop it before I really let loose in here. You know?
I cannot.
So it is our medicine, man. We have to get back to intentionally laughing with each other. And like Rick said earlier, self-care can just be the simple fact of just walking out of your house and taking a walk.
Mhm.
Just taking a walk. If you got a dog, take the dog with you, because he ain't gonna do nothing but listen to y'all conversation as you walk. He might not give you no response back. He not gonna judge y'all for what's going on
But
inside your house.
it could be something so simple as a hug. Like how many
Man.
couples have you talked to and haven't physically don't you dare that
We just not
haven't
gonna
like
talk about that.
physical touch. Like there could be wives on here that haven't felt an embrace from her husband in I don't know how long. Like
I'm
it could
sorry.
be something. I'm not saying you.
It was mentioned.
I'm not. I'm going back. Y'all
Uh,
next. Next question.
no, no, no. So you gotta take subliminal messaging. So that was one of them hidden gems. You better take it and do something with it, man.
Oh God.
Like
Cannot
for
with
real. I
you.
mean, it's and then the other thing, y'all, is just the simple fact of being able to sit down with your friends and discuss these type of things. This is also self care.
Mhm.
Like I was saying, the gentleman asked me that, and I said, man, just sit down and take a look at the show, and you'll see why I continue to do it. Is because when we may be at each other next, it's babe. You could tell them we was at each other's next one time before we even got on this down, and then the energy changed. It flipped like you turn your light switch on, the energy changed. The whole energy, the whole mood, and everything changed. So it's crazy what this show what it has done for us. It's crazy what marriage and self care does with your marriage. It's amazing. It's amazing.
So I wanna Janelle brought this up. Um she says there's a self-care categories. I didn't know this until Chantel actually presented this at the show, but there are eight, and I found them. So now I gotta find where my notes at. Um what they are, because initially I'm thinking self-care is like the massages and things like that. But there's eight different ones. Um okay, wait a minute, let me go back to my list. Okay. So physical, emotional, mental, social, spiritual, environmental, financial, and professional are the eight facets of
Mhm.
self-care. And like I didn't even know was like when she started to us, I was like, oh, so I think for us is to take the list and like really make a goal as a couple to find something that fits in all of those categories, because you could say, oh, we're going to get a massage. That's one piece of it. Like it's
Hmm.
so much more to it. But just knowing like it doesn't take a lot to show appreciation for each other and that you care, and like, okay, today I like you. You had the little letters where you go out with me, like, the things back in the days. But oh my goodness, I can't talk with you right now.
No, and it's funny. It's funny because everybody's self care looks different too. So what you might see your close friend do with his wife with their self care may not be initially for you and yours.
You gotta find what works for
You
you.
have to find what works for you. So for a long time, I used to bring home for Valentine's Day the big old stupid looking teddy bears that collect a lot of dust. And this year, finally this year, hey Drake,
It was not this
you don't need
year.
to, maybe last year, maybe last year, it probably last year, it probably was last year. Drake, you don't need to do that. You don't need to do that. I don't like that. Just the fact of you bringing the flowers and a car home is enough, and spending that quality time type of thing. Everybody's different. Like somebody else might want diamonds and pearls on a Valentine's Day, So everybody's self care and self love and marriage type of thing is different. I always tell people, man, don't. I just told my little cousin I had to speak to. Don't base your marriage off of what somebody else's look like,
Mhm.
and then
Mhm.
what you chasing,
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
you chasing, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that don't work.
I mean,
Man,
that's what ruined ours in
Don't
the
work.
beginning. It was ridiculous. And half of the stuff, like Mike wanted to do things for me, that I really didn't even appreciate. It was like, okay, why are you doing this? Because you saw somebody else do something. And I'm doing the same thing. And it's like you actually have to understand your brand of crazy, your brand of self care, whatever makes your relationship work. And you don't have to explain anything to anybody.
no,
No.
No.
I think that's why it was good for us when we did the five love languages
Yep.
for like
Mm-hmm.
learning each other's love language, because you realize like, oh, I thought he was this and it was like completely opposite of what I thought. But it's understanding like what
Please
love
stop before you knock
represents
it down,
to
man.
your spouse, so that you're not like, if his isn't gifts, I'm not going to continue to give him gifts if that's not what his is.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I'm glad you said that, Katrina, because I was just thinking that same thing. Because for Tiff and I, in order for us to get to where we are now, we had to understand not only ourselves but each other. And the five love languages, actually, the author that wrote the book, we got a chance to see him in
Chapman.
person,
Mhm.
and we bought all the books. So just understanding. But see, one of the things too with love languages, you got to understand, if you know what yours is, that they're bi-directional. So like mine is acts of service. So I like when Tiff does things for me, that's acts of service. But I also get pleasure out of doing things for her. So you got to look at your
Not
love
my maid.
language. No, she, yeah. If you ask her, that'd probably be her only love language. Is but she understand, but understanding that really helps. To be honest with you, men, if you're listening, understanding love languages will keep you out the doghouse, because you can tap into those, and trust me, they will reach whoever you're connected with. And that's one of the things, that for Tiff and I, like I said, just getting to understand each other, because I've said this before, we all have game tape on each other. You see the different things that we do over and over and over again, but because we're human, we allow our emotions to dictate when those things come back around. Even though we've seen it before, it just depends on what state of mind we're in. But
Mm-hmm.
that's another part of self-care, digging deeper to understand each other along with understanding yourself, so that you can minimize those bad days
And it's
in those short periods where things become long, they become short. Those disagreements, like y'all were just saying, for Tiff and I coming on here, we could have had a heated conversation. Well, I'll say a conversation, but it was heated. But when the lights go on, we're back at it because we're laughing and having fun.
and those things, we are not going to always like each other. We are not going to always get along. We are not going to always agree on a thing. And just our recovery time back to liking and loving each other is so much shorter than what it used to be. Like, we would ghost each other for weeks at a time. Like, dude, lose my number, go sleep on the couch, like all of the stuff. And
Y'all, my wife's a thug, y'all. If y'all ain't pick
She said,
some
lose
of
my
some of ghosting me. We in the same house. Ghosting me.
But
you know
that's
what I
the
mean.
realness
know,
of it,
Like,
because we all have
know,
those
what
moments.
if you didn't
Like,
have them moments, y'all ain't really living your marriage. If you didn't have those
Yeah.
moments, um, but it's learning. I'll never forget how Alicia used to say she used to hold grudges, and now she don't. It's like something could be gone within seconds. If you can learn to do that and get
mhm.
over it and keep it moving,
Mhm.
it's so much easier.
Mhm.
It's so much
And it
easier.
doesn't mean that you don't have emotions. Say what you need to say, in the way that you need to say it. Let your emotions rise and fall and move on with it. And so this is why working together as a couple and understanding each other and allowing each other that space is powerful. Like the other day, it was so funny. We were talking about something, and like Mike knows me well enough to not let me stay in a space too long. And so we were having a conversation about something, and I don't even know if it's hormonal or what. I just bust out crying. He's like, "What's wrong with you? You're beyond this." It was so funny because he knows what I need, in the sense that, if he had given into that too long or whatever, it would have taken me into a funk. I would have been into a place or a state or whatever. But it was like he, knew how to turn it around with laughter. And so that's I think that that's how you have to know. A lot of times, how can I put it? You don't always necessarily need to give your partner what they think they need. You give your partner what they need. Like sometimes, like when you're in such a space, you have to extend to your spouse the opportunity to move you along when you don't have the strength to. And that's part of the self-care piece, is knowing when to submit, like knowing to allow each other the grace and the mercy to help each other through. And I think that that goes very closely with like forgiveness, self-care, and all of that. So it helps you to learn how to not only care for yourself but also care for your spouse as well.
Yeah.
So there was a question on here. I kind of wanted, let's go to the question real quick. It says, do you all tie in the 5 love language into understanding / creating self-care practices? Um, well, we're gonna be diving a little bit deep
Yeah, we
into the
need to.
self-care a little bit more. So uh I guess you would look at what your love language is, what your partner's love language is, and then try to tie that into your self-care. So somebody like, for myself, is words of affirmation, right? Self-care for Trina, for me, could be just telling me how she like this or whatever. Um and vice versa. So what y'all think? And she said you answered it. So we answered it without even knowing it.
We
Dang.
did. Uh-huh.
Good.
Yeah. So I wanna because I know Tiffany and Rick, you all have something very special coming up. We talked on it a little bit, but for those without giving away too much, as share some words of encouragement, inspiration for those couples that are kind of intrigued now about creating self-care for themselves and that will want to know more of what they can expect from the self-care cation that's coming up in September.
Even before we answer that, I
Okay.
have a question. Someone text me. It's kind of like anonymous, but self care for couples is nice when both are when both participate. Talk about how to get the other partner involved.
Oh, that's good.
So that's a really great question because um, for us, and we're only just talking about our situation. We didn't have a shift in our relationship until we allow God in to our situation, our marriage, because it was that, and then also I had to take my finger off of him and all of the things he was doing. Like it was literally he. If he does this, then I will do this, and it wasn't until because there it was a lot of stuff that I wanted to do with Rick, but we couldn't even get along, so we weren't going anywhere. So as I worked on myself, forgiveness was a great big piece in that, but I had to backtrack on all of the things that I was doing. So I want my husband to talk to me. Like, why don't you talk to me? Why should he talk to me when he shares his most deepest, and when we're not getting along, I'm using that as a weapon and I'm bringing it back up.
Yeah.
So I caused so much damage in the beginning of our marriage where we had to heal from that. Like, if somebody's going to use your stuff back at you,
Come on.
you are not going to share. You are not going to want to be giving to that person and loving and all of the things. So it's just basically like just stepping back and taking the time to, you literally have to master your marriage, like master who your spouse is. Every day Rick and I wake up, there is no 50-50. Like we give 100% of ourselves. Even if Rick is off, like he only had 30% to give me, I have to give him grace for that. But that has nothing to do with what I am going to give out. I have a responsibility to give 100% to my spouse. That's my responsibility. And Rick had came up with the saying that made so much sense to me. Like, if it's important to her, then it's important to me. And I was like, but if it's important to him, then it's important to me. Like, this is my best friend. Like, I want to treat him with the most um of care, because this is my person, this is my boo, or whoever you whatever your pet names are. But it's just creating the spaces for them to even want to. So let's say you are working, right? You are a supervisor, right? And you have employees. Let's say you have an employee that is really trying their best and not giving you all of the problems and stuff like that, but then you have another one that always have something to say. They always at you. Like, between the two, you're going to want to give to the person that is nice and sweet and kind to you. It's so we just had to shift. It was only in that shift was when Rick was able to um feel okay with doing things with me, or going places and all of the things. So I hope I answered your question.
I
And
want to add to it, Tiffany. I think too, while there may be times when we want our spouse to attend the retreats and all of the things with us, that we have to still understand this, even if they can't. If we feel the need and being led to go, then we need to be able to go anyway, because I think it allows us to go and get what we need to get in spaces where we can come to get with other women, or get with other men, and allow them to say something that's like, okay, I can't go home and be mad, I can't take it personal, like all of the things, and just understanding and really leaning into the power of prayer. Because if you can, maybe Andre's not like, it was a couple conferences that I wanted to go to that he couldn't. And I could have said, well, if he's not going, I'm not going. Well, then I miss my blessing if I do that. And it's just understanding that sometimes you do have to take the journey alone, but you're taking it alone because there's still something that you need to receive. So that way, when you do get back home to your spouse, you can still pour, you can still show God's love, you can still show the grace and forgiveness that's required. So when he looking like, oh shucks, what she do down there? I'm gonna have to be up in there next time because she done came back a little too good. Those type of things is just really allowing God to show you where to go, when to go, and allowing him to really put in, like, allow the pieces to fall into place. Because if we're trying to say, well, you don't go anywhere, you don't love me, and I wish you would do this and wish you, then there's a lot of resentment and a lot of regret. But if you can truly say, see them the way that God sees them, and just like really show love, no matter what it looks like or what it feels like, then God really has the opportunity to come in and say, okay, listen, now I need you to hear your wife, or now I need you to hear your husband, because this really means something to them.
Can I just add on that? Because
Absolutely.
like you said, it hits home because we had that same thing, and I think if you really want to, and I've heard one time the example of trying to be a great um, doubles tennis team. If you know the game of tennis and you've seen two people trying to play tennis at the same time, it takes an art to that. In order to really be able to be great at that, you had to be a great singles player first.
That's
And so, we're looking to have our spouse, join us and do all these different things. But like you just said, we have to be great at loving ourselves first.
that's it.
And we can't have I can't have my wife love me if I'm not really loving on myself.
Right, right.
So like you said, if you go out and you start doing these things and or if I'm going out and doing these things and Alicia sees that over and over again, she's going to start to look, okay. And then at some point, my growth is going to really pique her interest to say, like you just said, what's he doing?
He made me think I could ride bikes. Like he would go out, like he would ride like 100 miles every weekend, right? And so once Arunda said, I was like, I'll go with you. And I dropped him off, but I went to go get something to eat. Dropped him off. But I did that a couple of weeks. Remember I did that? I was like, okay, because he made it look like so much fun. And I was like, I want to just go see. So I would go and I would park in a parking lot and I would watch him. He'd go load his bike up. And that was good for me. Like, you got to meet people where they are.
Yep.
I'm not getting on a bike. I'm not riding. All I got to do is see roadkill one time and I'm done. I'm not doing that. But I met him as closely as I could. And then when I picked him up, I was able to pick him up. I was like, you want to get something to eat? You need anything? Like, he was tired and all of that. So that's how we did it. And even like him meeting me, I've been doing the journaling work for years. Okay. Mike liked to get me set up on the call, then he would leave. Like, okay, like the calls, like the community would babysit me. Like he knew that, okay, she good, right? And Mike would never be on the journaling challenges. He would ear hustle, he would do stuff like that. But now he's meeting me, as much as he can. He ain't writing in the journals. He's not doing it. I don't know. But I'm just saying, you being on the calls, getting up in the morning, that is, and I appreciate that. I'm not expecting him to go as hard for something as I am because that's my passion. But for him to show interest in it or to help as much as he can, and for me to show interest, he's not expecting me to get out there and ride 30. I don't even think you want me to do some of the things that you do because that's your thing. I would probably be like, "Dang, you really going on this ride?" I would change the whole dynamic of everything. You need to give your spouse their thing, but support them as much as you can.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm definitely not into dragging you to do different things. I mean, we all have our things. I mean, just as we talk about coming together as a couple, there's, time that we need to actually, do our own things. And I think, we say biking, that's my thing.
Mm-hmm.
You have your things.
Mm-hmm.
But like I say, at the end of the day, we have to really, to come together tightly as a couple. Going back to it, we have to really learn to love ourselves and to build that space up because, who wants to get together and start doing all these things? You're having fun, but you're not really growing because I'm doing something that I don't like. You're doing something that you don't like, and it's like there's no growth in that.
Yeah.
There's no growth in that.
Mm-hmm.
But Trina, I'm glad you said that because that was us for a long time. I would always have this feeling in the back of my mind is, why doesn't she? I'm doing this, and it's something that's positive, and she's like, hey, you'll do your thing. But I think, the thing is just, not get too caught up in that and doing that thing that you love doing at some point, at the point that she's supposed to come along or that he's supposed to come along, they will.
Yeah.
They will. And I saw the question about, self-care and how, your spouse and, what if your spouse is not, willing and able? And I think that's what you were saying. You have to learn to just, do your thing. They will come along. They will come along.
Hey, can I
Especially as
say
they
something?
start to see the growth, they'll come.
Yeah. Oh yeah, most definitely. And as we're talking, I'm thinking, and I look back on when we started calling ourselves Team Childs, and it was a story I heard about Kobe and Shaq. So when they were in LA together, uh, Kobe was famous for, hogging the ball, and Shaq wanted the ball just as much. So Shaq came to Kobe and said, there's no I in team, but Kobe said there is a ME, you know, and but the thing is, they weren't getting along, but they won championships. Okay, their personalities wasn't always together, but they were able to win championships during that period. And that's what's so important for us, like what I just heard Mike and Alicia say, because I know uh long distance riding, there's no naps encoded in the process.
I could put a
Yeah.
basket on the
Can't
bike.
be
Like I
10
would be,
miles.
you had a two-seater bike.
Get the little
You
side
know,
cart.
That's all.
right, right. There you go.
Give me a solid.
You get a little nap cart, Mike. You can hook it to your bike. There you go.
Oh, look, they got
Nancy's
the ones
even
you can drag
Nancy's
them
going
now.
along with you, but no, but seriously, but yeah, like you just said, because there's things that Tiff may do that I'm not fully into, so I'll meet her halfway. I'll give her what she needs. I'll support her as much as I can, and that's just understanding how it's important to her. Like she just said, if it's important to her, it's got to be important to me, and vice versa. And that's how we have to look at it. So yeah, definitely. Everything that we just said. And was anything you had?
Katrina asked the
Katrina?
question.
Okay, what was the question, Katrina?
What was my about the self-care to get give some hints about the self-care-cation, how they can learn more,
Okay.
register, what's kind of what to expect, but don't give away too much.
Okay.
So we will drop a link in your on your platform as well, but they can also go to teamchilds.store to find this marriage self-care-cation. Um,
You should add that up on the page.
Okay. He stuck. You tell him when it is. He's up to date.
okay, yes.
Okay.
September 19th through the 22nd.
Yeah.
It's going to be at the Embassy Suites by Hilton in Springfield, Virginia. Um, uh, they're close to airports. I think the closest airport is Reagan National Airport. We do offer two packages. The first package is called the Tranquil Rejuvenated Renewal Package, and that is an all-day spa day on Friday. And then Saturday, you have your couple enrichment. We're going to have powerful speakers there. We will be doing Unity Rings curation. That's where you all are personally making your own rings from scratch. There will be a renewal dedication session, lunch in the evening. We will have a team connection session in the evening part. That is, we can't say too much about that one, but it is also it's still surrounded around self-caring with your person and in in a team aspect, I guess you want to say.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'll just share this one quick thing too. So we like to have fun. Y'all already know this. We enjoy coming together and doing things. So if you've ever experienced some of the things we've done what is it? Game nights, things like
There's a
that.
lot of things.
Oh yeah, the
But
San
everything has
Pedro's we've done,
but-
cooking, game show, things like that. So this Friday
But
was it
every-
7 p.m.
But everything always has a twist to it.
Yes, yes. So
Always have a twist.
so this Friday we're doing a Friday night couples game night.
It's online.
Yeah,
It
it's
is
virtual.
free. It is a
Yeah.
virtual online game night with Team Childs. It's going to be this Friday. We will be dropping the link tomorrow for registration. We will be dropping it on our Facebook page. That's Team Childs on Facebook. So like and turn on your notifications so that you get it as you're registering. Then we can add you to our email list, and that way you can stay in the know with all things Team Childs is doing. And then also our Instagram page is the real Team Childs, and that's Childs with the S. That'll be posted as well tomorrow. And I also drop it on here.
Okay.
Drop it on your page.
Leslie said, "Me and my man will be there." She, don't stop. Don't stop. Well, so listen, y'all, reach out to them if you all have questions. If not, go register. Come on and join us. We'll be there. Looking forward to it. But Mike, can you share more details about your ride? Because I know you're also looking for support and how we can support you and what you're doing for that.
Yes. So
Y'all see that? Yeah. Y'all see that?
I don't know. I don't know. Alicia might be the handler.
So yeah, it's actually not this weekend, but next weekend I'll be heading out to San Fran, and we'll be heading up through the California wine country, through the Sonoma coastline, and Redwood Forest. This is a 6-day ride, 300 miles for the Multiple Myeloma Research Foundation. And of course, as I've said before, I was diagnosed back in 2022, and I have committed to living the rest of my life supporting and fighting for a cure, not necessarily for myself. I hope I do get a cure, but for others who will have this disease or live with this disease, years from now. Yeah, so we leave out on. I head to San Fran on the 24th. We head out on the morning of the 25th, and we return not return because we're not coming back to San Fran, but we end on the 31st. So definitely looking forward to this. Alicia's going to come out and meet me towards the end of the ride, and I'm excited about it. Alicia, if you can you drop the link in there?
Mhm.
There's a link, and I guess this is the big thing. I am collecting donations for this ride, and it's through the Multiple Myeloma Research Foundation. Again, this is for multiple myeloma research. I was just speaking with someone earlier whose dad had passed of multiple myeloma back in 2004, I believe. She was just expressing to me, telling me about her dad's story and the fact that the drugs that I'm using now that are making all of this possible, he was one of the first to kind of go through the clinical trials for that.
Wow.
So I think, unfortunately, he lived like 4 years after he was diagnosed. Um, and you look at multiple myeloma now, people are living much longer, and it's only because of organizations like the Multiple Myeloma Research Foundation that it's possible. All of the research and all of these clinical trials that they have now, there's so many options. The stuff that I'm going through now, the stem cell transplant, the treatments and stuff that I'm getting now, I'm in, quote unquote remission. But, if it gets to the point where that's no longer working, there are so many other options available. There's no cure for multiple myeloma, but that's what we're fighting for. That's what I'm collecting. That's why I'm writing, and that's what I'm taking donations for. So
Okay.
at least we'll drop it in the.
Drop it in the comment section.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anything else?
No, that was this was a amazing talk. Great talk.
Yeah.
Glad y'all came on. We should do it more often. It's pretty dope.
So we want to thank you all for joining us this evening. If you have questions about the self-carecation, please reach out to Teen Childs, their page, their Instagram page, inbox whoever you need to. But you deserve it as a couple to be in the room. I know God is going to be there. I already know. So
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yes.
Well, we're looking forward to having everyone. Thank you for this.
Yeah, thank you,
For allowing us to
Andre
come on your
Katrina.
platform.
Yeah, for allowing us, to come
Thank
on
you.
your platform. And I know it was unscripted, so we did it justice.
Oh
We
man.
kind of stayed on topic tonight though. We
Yeah.
didn't really do the thing like we jumping around 5 different times. So thank y'all for simmering him down a little bit because
Oh,
Nah, this was about y'all on this one, and I just got to sit back and embrace it because y'all are doing amazing things.
oh, well, thank you.
Thank you.
Y'all were doing amazing things.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
Appreciate
Show
it.
love.
Appreciate it.
thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us, y'all.
Well, y'all have a good evening and we'll see y'all next Tuesday.